The New York Rangers have made their decision on Igor Shesterkin, and the Rangers star goaltender has officially rejected their historic contract offer. With a contract that seemed destined to be signed before the season started, it may not get done at all at this point. We're going to break it all down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. Hit that subscribe button and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers, including this pretty much breaking news right now, as Kevin Weekes has come out on Twitter with some shocking information regarding Igor Shesterkin. And it seems like, as we covered yesterday and we'll get to later in the video again, the New York Rangers have officially made their decision on Igor Shesterkin. And this was from yesterday. We'll start with this from Elliotte Friedman. I believe it's going to work out. Friedman said, "I think the Rangers have made their choice that they're going to pay him. And to me, it just comes down to what the numbers will be. Until I'm told otherwise, I expect them to work it out. I believe the Rangers have made their choice there." And yes, the Rangers have absolutely made their choice with some breaking news this morning. Like I mentioned, from Kevin Weekes, they officially offered Igor Shesterkin a contract offer. And we know that Igor Shesterkin and the New York Rangers wanted to get this done before the season started because he does not want to negotiate in season. It's either before the season starts or after the season. A lot of players do this. We see it across the league. A lot of superstar players in contract years this year do not want to negotiate in season. So it seems like now, with this being rejected, and we'll get to the specifics in a second, it may not get done before the season, which means it's going to have to wait to the offseason, and it could get a little tricky in the offseason. But anyway, breaking news from Kevin Weekes. I'm told that the Stanley Cup contending and cap spending New York Rangers offer of $88 million, which equaled out to, it was an 8-year contract offer, which is crazy because Igor Shesterkin would be about 36, 37 when the contract expired, with an $11 million AAV, which is something that we were expecting. We're expecting him to be, we talked about it on the channel, and everyone's, we've been seeing it online. This guy, this player, this goaltender is going to be the highest paid goaltender in the National Hockey League. We know this. It's going to happen. He's the best goaltender in the National Hockey League for my money. He's also a UFA. You can't compare him. It's not apples to apples with Jeremy Swayman, as we discussed yesterday. It's not entirely apples to apples, but if you do, compare the stats, they are similar. But anyway, we knew he was going to be the highest paid goalie. This would make him the highest paid goalie. But he's also come out and said he wanted $12.4 million. He wants a specific percentage of the cap, and that's not going to happen. The Rangers not going to offer him that. But, we were wondering, are they going to offer him $12 million? Obviously here, they've offered him $11 million a year, which is still very steep. They're going to have to move Jacob Trouba to make this work next year. We know this. But it is already pretty steep. And it seems like he's turning this down because he wants to be the highest paid, not just the highest paid goaltender in the league, the highest paid New York Ranger. He wants to make more than Artemi Panarin. We know this from a couple of weeks ago. If you want to go check out that video, I'll link it at the end of this video. But we know this from a couple of weeks ago. There was a report that stated, he wants to be the highest paid New York Ranger. He wants to make more than Artemi Panarin. So clearly a contract offer, a very generous one, if you ask me. 8 years, $88 million. At $11 million AAV, which would make him the highest paid goaltender in the league, right? Which is what I thought he wanted at the end of the day, but I guess he wants a certain percentage of the cap. Maybe he thinks, and maybe his agent thinks, his camp, that he is the best player on the New York Rangers. And they might not be wrong, actually, because he is a great player. And I know a lot of people complain about some soft goals, but at the end of the day, your goaltender, we see it league-wide. Sometimes you can't win if you don't have a goaltender, right? And especially in the playoffs. So this guy has shown that he is a number one starter in this league, and they can rely on him. So I knew he was going to be the highest paid goaltender in the league. I wouldn't even be mad with like 11.5, let's say, right? But that's just me personally. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. But $11 million, he's turned it down. He wants more. We know that he wants now probably 11.6, or, he wants more than Artemi Panarin. So somewhere in the 11.7 to $12.4 million range. And that's pretty much where it's going to land now, because he's rejected this offer, and the Rangers almost have no legs to stand on besides trading this player, and they're going for a Stanley Cup this year. It's not an ideal situation by any means. And this is from Anthony. I thought this was interesting as well. Igor Shesterkin rejecting a contract that would have paid him $11 million a year, making him the highest paid goaltender in NHL history, by the way, not just in the league currently, but in NHL history, is lunacy. Almost $3 million more than Swayman and Hellebuck, which different situations again. Swayman was an RFA, right? they had that whole public negotiation, and Hellebuck is getting a little bit older. But anyway, you have to start to question his ego and if he values getting paid more than winning. And I think that is something, right? I think at the end of the day, you do have to question it, right? You do have to question his ego and if he wants the money over winning, right? But at the same time, he knows the Rangers, the position the Rangers are in, they're going for a Stanley Cup, and they might not be able to do it without him, right? Without him, they have Jonathan Quick, and not many answers in the goaltending position other than Igor Shesterkin, right? I mean, we know what he can do. He's a starting goaltender. He's a fantastic goalie. For my money, he's the best goalie in the league, and we knew he was going to get paid, but is there that much of a gap, right? In different circumstances, like I've been saying, I knew he was going to be the highest paid goaltender in the league, but this is starting to be a little crazy. Like, wouldn't you think, I know he's trying to get the most out of the New York Rangers. We understand that. And obviously his ask was far greater than this contract offer anyway, but this is the offer that he received and he rejected it. Crazy. But there is a lot going on here with this today. And anyway, from Cam Robinson, piggybacking on Kevin Week's post on Shesterkin, I was told recently that Igor may be more keen on a shorter term deal. So maybe it's not quite about the money. It is about the money. But maybe he wants more per year on a shorter contract, which could favor the New York Rangers because, again, this is a goaltender slowly creeping up on 30 years old. So, yes, 8 years would probably bring the AAV down, but he's rejected it at this point. And, again, he's a UFA. If he wants to, he can walk, and I'm sure there's going to be a team standing there at the door in free agency ready to sign this player. It is a tricky situation. If the New York Rangers wanted 8 years, they'd have to seriously break the bank. So lots going on here this morning and a lot of conflicting reports as well if you go on Twitter right now. So obviously the dust will settle, but this is crazy. And again, from Kevin Weekes, he rejected the contract offer from Chris Drury of 8 years, $11 million AAV. That would have made him the highest paid goalie in the NHL right now and ever. So, I'm not sure what he wants at this point. Obviously, we know what he wants. It's 12 million or 12.4. It looks like it's 12 million or nothing for Shesterkin at this point because we knew that they were going to try and get this done before the season. The Rangers have obviously made their contract offer. Shesterkin has rejected it. At this point, I know that he wants 12 million, but for the Rangers to offer you $11 million a year over the course of 8 years, and it would make you the highest paid goaltender in the league with really nobody in your rear view mirror, if you ask me, right? Like nobody, I think, would overtake that. Like we're seeing a lot of shuffling right now where Austin Matthews, Leon Draisaitl, and obviously McDavid's going to surpass those guys once his contract is done. I don't see anybody in the rear view mirror for this goaltender, right? So the fact that 11 million would still make him the highest paid today and in history, and he rejected that, is a little worrisome for the New York Rangers. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you upset with Igor Shesterkin? Do you think his ego is a little bit too out of control? I'm a bit upset that, with the circumstances that we know, that they wanted to get this contract done before the season started, which would have had to been today because obviously the season starts tomorrow. And with them wanting to get it done today, him rejecting this offer that would still make him, just about $1 million shy of where he wanted to be, give or take, maybe a couple $100,000 more of where he wanted to be in his initial ask over the course of 8 years. It's a little disappointing that he's rejected that because, of course, it would make him the highest paid goaltender in the league and in history. It's a little disappointing personally, but we'll have to see. Maybe things will change over the course of a season. I guess we're going to have to see in the offseason at this point because it doesn't seem like this is going to get done during the season. There is potential for it to get done, but it doesn't look likely at this point, especially with him rejecting Chris Drury's $11 million AAV over 8-year offer. So it's going to be very interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think of Igor Shesterkin and the contract offer. And the contract offer on Chris Drury's side as well. Let me know what you think of that. And obviously Shesterkin rejecting it. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.